She stopped wanting sex. You didn't. And nobody prepared either of you for that. You're still the same man with the same drive, but somewhere in the last few years, the woman you love quietly checked out of that part of your relationship. And you've been left trying to figure out whether to keep reaching for her or just accept that this is how the rest of your life looks. Here's what I need you to know right now. This is not permanent. This is not her telling you she's done with you. And it is absolutely fixable if you understand what actually happened to her body and you change one or two specific things about how you're approaching her. This video is going to give you both. You're going to understand exactly why her desire dropped, why sex may actually be hurting her right now without her saying a word about it, and why what you've been doing to handle it, however well-intentioned, may have been making things worse. Then you're going to get the specific, practical things that actually bring her back. And at the end, I'm going to show you the one conversation most couples in this situation have never had, and what happens to the relationship when they finally do. Pay close attention all the way through, because what I'm about to share has genuinely brought couples back from years of nothing, and it could be exactly what turns this around for you. I'm Dr. Valerie Hayes, and every week on this channel, I have the honest, practical conversations about sex and intimacy for men over 50 that most people won't go near. Hit subscribe right now and come with me on this one. Okay, so first, what actually happened to her body? In plain language, no clinical distance. So here's the thing. Before menopause, a woman's body produces estrogen, and estrogen does several things that directly affect sex. It keeps the vaginal tissue soft, elastic, and naturally lubricated. It plays a significant role in generating sexual desire in the brain, and it makes arousal build relatively quickly when the right conditions are there. After menopause, estrogen drops sharply, and when it drops, 3 specific things happen that change her entire relationship with sex. The first thing, and this is the one most men have absolutely no idea about, is that sex can become physically painful for her. The vaginal tissue thins out and dries. What used to feel good now creates friction that can feel genuinely uncomfortable, sometimes worse than that. She is not being dramatic. She is not making excuses. Her body physically changed in a way that makes something she used to enjoy feel like something to endure. And think about what that does over time. Every time sex is uncomfortable, her brain files that away. Slowly, without her consciously deciding anything, her body starts associating intimacy with discomfort and begins pulling away from it. So by the time you notice she's lost interest, she may have been quietly protecting herself from pain for months. Here's what makes it worse. She probably hasn't told you. Because how do you tell the man you love that being with him hurts? She doesn't want to hurt your feelings, so she says she's tired. She says she's not in the mood. And you hear rejection when what she's actually doing is protecting both of you from a conversation she doesn't know how to start. That one piece of information, understanding that this is physical, not personal, changes everything about how you respond to her. And it gets even more important when you understand what else is happening. The second thing menopause does is turn down her desire, significantly. And I want you to picture this because it helps. Imagine you've always had a radio playing in your house. You got so used to it you stopped noticing it, but it was always there, a low, constant hum of wanting. And then one day, someone turned the volume down to almost nothing. You're not even sure you can hear it anymore. That is what happens to a woman's libido after menopause. The hormonal signal that generated desire doesn't vanish entirely, but it becomes so quiet that it stops rising to the surface on its own. Sex simply doesn't occur to her the way it used to. She wakes up and it's not on her mind. She goes through her day and it doesn't cross her. And at the end of the day, when you reach for her, she genuinely doesn't feel what she used to feel when that happened. Now here is the critical thing men miss about this. The signal being quiet does not mean it's gone. It means it needs more help getting there. More time, more warmth, more of the right conditions before it rises to the surface. And this is where what you do, specifically what you do, becomes everything. Because here's what most men do when they sense their partner has lost interest. They either push or they disappear. They push, initiating the same way they always did, same pace, same sequence, same expectation. And when it doesn't work, they try harder. And pushing when her body isn't ready makes the discomfort worse and deepens the association between intimacy and something she'd rather avoid. Or they disappear. They stop initiating entirely. They pull back the casual touch, the closeness, the small physical moments that weren't going anywhere. Because reaching for her and getting nothing back hurts too much to keep doing. And this is where you really need to pay attention, because what I'm about to say is the thing that turns this whole situation around. The physical affection he stops giving, the non-sexual touch, the hand on her back, sitting close, a kiss that isn't leading anywhere. That is actually one of the primary things that keeps a woman's desire system active after menopause. When he withdraws it, he removes the very thing her body needs to stay connected to the possibility of wanting. Her desire was already quiet. His withdrawal makes it quieter still. So both responses, pushing too hard and disappearing, make the situation worse. And the man doing either isn't doing it with bad intentions. He just doesn't know what he doesn't know. Now you do. So here's what actually works. The first thing you do is bring back touch that has no destination. Touch her without it meaning anything about where you're going. Hold her hand when you're sitting together. Put your hand on her back when you walk past her in the kitchen. Kiss her in the morning without it being an invitation to anything. Sit close when you're watching something together. Do this consistently, not for a day or two, but for weeks. What you're doing is slowly rebuilding her body's association between physical closeness and safety, between your touch and warmth, between being near you and feeling good with no pressure attached. And here's what starts to happen when you do this long enough. Her nervous system starts to relax around intimacy. The bracing goes away, and that quiet signal of desire starts, slowly, gradually, rising back to the surface. Women over 50 say this over and over when they describe what changed the dynamic with their partners. It wasn't a technique, it was the return of warmth without agenda, feeling wanted without feeling pressured. That combination, sustained over time, does something to a menopausal woman's desire that nothing else can do. Now, once that warmth is back, once she's not bracing when you come close, there's something else you need to understand about how her body actually works now. Her arousal takes significantly longer than it used to. What might have taken 10 minutes before could now take 45, maybe longer. And this is not a problem. This is her body telling you exactly what it needs. The man who treats the longer timeline as something to push through loses her. The man who treats it as time he's choosing to spend on her, who starts slow, stays slow, follows what her body is actually responding to instead of hurrying toward a destination, finds that her body still responds fully. It just responds on its own timeline now. You see, what menopause makes non-negotiable is exactly what creates the kind of experience women never forget. The unhurried approach, the full attention, working her whole body before anything else, every part of her getting the time it deserves. That approach, which I've gone deep on in other videos on this channel, is what gives her multiple orgasms she didn't think her body was capable of anymore. Menopause didn't end that possibility. It just made the approach that creates it the only approach that works. But before any of that can happen, there's one practical thing you need to address, and it's simple. Most couples never talk about it, and not talking about it is quietly ruining the experience every single time. Lubrication. Vaginal dryness after menopause is physiological. It has nothing to do with how attracted she is to you, nothing to do with desire or love or whether she finds you attractive. It is a physical change caused by lower estrogen, and ignoring it means she's uncomfortable from the first moment, which means her body is bracing instead of opening, which means neither of you gets what you're hoping for. Bringing lubricant into the bedroom is the practical, straightforward solution to a physical reality. The man who introduces it naturally, who puts it on the bedside table without making it a moment, who uses it as a normal part of the experience, removes one of the biggest physical barriers to sex being genuinely enjoyable for her. And somewhere outside the bedroom, in a calm, quiet moment, tell her it has nothing to do with how you see her, that you understand why her body changed, that it doesn't change a single thing about how much you want her. That one conversation removes the shame she's probably been carrying about it. And a woman who is no longer ashamed of what her body needs is a woman who can actually receive the experience instead of managing her self-consciousness through it. Now here's the piece that brings everything together, and honestly, it might be the most important thing in this entire video. Most couples dealing with this have never talked about it directly. She is probably carrying guilt, feeling like she's failing you, feeling like she should want this and doesn't, and something is wrong with her. She loves you, she sees you wanting her, and she can't give you what you want and doesn't know how to explain why. That is an incredibly lonely place to be, and you are probably carrying your own quiet weight. The rejection that landed personally, even though it wasn't personal. The wondering if she still finds you attractive, if this is permanent, if this is just your life now. Also incredibly lonely. Two people, same relationship, both suffering alone with the same problem, neither having said a word about it. Well, one conversation changes all of that. And it doesn't require perfect words or a prepared speech. It just requires a calm moment outside the bedroom and the willingness to say something true. Something like, "I've been learning about what happens after menopause, and I think I finally understand some of what you've been going through. I want you to know I'm not going anywhere. I want us to figure out what works for us now, not what worked 10 years ago, but now, and I want to do that together." Those words, or something close to them in your own voice, do something that no technique reaches. They tell her she's not alone in this, that you're not angry, that you're still here. And a woman who feels that from the man she loves starts coming back to herself. If this is giving you something real, something you've needed and couldn't find anywhere else, hit subscribe right now and share this with a man who needs it. New video every week. Real, honest, practical. Hit subscribe and come back every week. One more thing before I close. There are medical options for menopausal women that many women don't know about and many doctors don't volunteer. Topical estrogen, vaginal moisturizers, hormone therapy. Options that can genuinely improve vaginal comfort and in some cases help restore desire. Not right for every woman, but worth knowing about. If your partner has never talked to her doctor specifically about the sexual effects of menopause, she may not have. Many women feel too embarrassed to bring it up. You can gently, warmly encourage that conversation. You're not diagnosing anything. You're opening a door that could significantly change her experience. I want to close with this. What you're dealing with right now is not the end of your sex life. It is a change in the conditions. And changed conditions require a changed approach. Something slower, warmer, more patient, and more honest than what came before. The couples who navigate this well, who go through this transition together instead of drifting apart inside it, often describe what comes out the other side as the best intimacy of their relationship. Because they stopped assuming and started talking. They stopped expecting the old thing to come back and built something new, something that fits who they both are now. That is available to you, both of you. It starts with what I've shared today, and it continues with what you choose to do with it. My newsletter is where I go further than this platform allows. The specific things that work for women over 50 in the bedroom, what she needs to feel for her body to open up again, said fully and without restriction. Free. Link is right below this video. Drop a comment below. Is this what's been happening in your relationship? Did this video name something that's been sitting between you and your partner without either of you saying a word? Tell me below. No details needed. Just tell me it landed. I'll see you next week. Take good care.